It sounds completely insane, but what I'm about to reveal here goes against everything you've ever been taught about how to treat women. And when I say everything, I mean every single thing your mother, society, romantic movies, and even your exes have drilled into your brain. Machiavelli figured this out 500 years ago by observing the most powerful women in European courts. What he discovered was so unsettling, he never wrote it down openly. He knew it would destroy him. Today, I'm going to share with you 9 specific ways to treat women that will make you appear like the most irresistible man they've ever met. Most guys beg for attention like dogs. You're going to flip the script. You're going to make them beg for yours. And the final technique, brother, that one is the deadliest of all. It's so powerful it could change your romantic life forever, but I have to give it to you at the end. If you use it before understanding the other 8, you'll blow everything up. So stay with me until the very end, because every second of this is worth gold. The first way is the most counterintuitive of all, and this is where 95% of men completely mess up without even realizing it. You have to treat her as if you already have options, even if you don't yet. And I don't mean pretending in some obvious fake way. I mean internalizing it so deeply that you no longer need her validation to feel whole. Your mind starts to operate from true abundance. Because here's the truth. Her brain is constantly scanning for signals. It's not listening to what you say. It's reading how you act under pressure. And one of the strongest signals she can detect is whether you're a man in scarcity who clings to any opportunity, or a man of abundance who chooses carefully. Let me break down the biology behind this so you understand why it works so brutally well. Inside the primitive female brain is an evaluation system built through millions of years of evolution. This mechanism is always asking, if this man gives me all his attention so easily, why aren't other women fighting for him? And if they're not interested, what flaw am I missing? Think about it like a market. If you see a product on clearance that nobody's buying, you assume there's something wrong with it. But if you see people lining up to get it, it immediately seems more valuable. So how do you apply this without being a jerk? First, and listen closely, never cancel important plans for her in the early stages. If you've scheduled training, a project, or time with your close friends, don't move it just because she suddenly has a free evening. Say it calmly. I already have something that day, but Thursday night works if that's good for you. That one simple sentence communicates volumes. It shows her that your life was already moving before she showed up, that you have priorities, and your time has real value. Second, don't reply to her texts instantly, like you've been staring at your phone waiting. Let 20 minutes pass. Let it be an hour. Even 2 if it's casual. Not as a game, but because you're genuinely busy building your life. And when you do reply, respond with energy, with substance, but not with desperation. Don't say, "Sorry for the delay, I was busy." That apology signals guilt. Just respond normally, like someone whose time is naturally limited. Third, and this one's critical, never give her unlimited access to your emotional availability at the start. Weak men pour out their life stories, their fears, and insecurities within the first 3 dates, thinking it creates connection. It doesn't. It creates discomfort. She didn't sign up to be your therapist, brother. She wants to feel like you're solid, like you've got yourself together. Vulnerability can come later, once real trust is built. But early on, you need to maintain some mystery. Make her earn access to the deeper layers of who you are. And here's where most men go completely wrong with this first technique. They confuse acting like they have options with being arrogant or distant. It's not the same. A man with real options doesn't need to rub it in anyone's face. He just lives with purpose. His energy says, "My life is interesting with or without you. If you choose to join me, great. If not, I'll keep building something meaningful." That kind of energy is magnetic. because there's no neediness attached to it. Now, the second technique is even more brutal, and most men hate hearing it the first time, because it contradicts everything they were taught about being a nice guy. You must treat her with respect, but never with worship. There's a massive difference between the two, and most men don't see it. Respect means you value her time, you listen when she speaks, and you treat her with basic human dignity. Worship means you put her on a pedestal, act like she's flawless, and excuse behaviors you wouldn't tolerate from anyone else just because you're into her. Machiavelli wrote something that fits this perfectly. He said, "He who makes himself a sheep will be eaten by wolves." And in the romantic world, this is gospel. When you worship a woman, when you treat her like a goddess who can do no wrong, you strip all the tension out of the interaction. And without tension, there's no electricity. Without electricity, there's no attraction. It really is that simple. Let me give you a real-life example of how this plays out. Let's say she shows up 30 minutes late to a date without texting you. The man who worships says, "No worries, it's fine. I get it. Traffic is bad." The man who respects without worship says calmly, "Hey, my time's valuable. If something comes up, just let me know. If it happens again, let's reschedule for another day." Do you see the difference? One guy is begging to be treated well. The other is calmly setting a standard, with no anger, no drama, just clarity. Her nervous system picks up the fact that you have real boundaries, that you're not the kind of man who'll tolerate anything just to keep her around, and that activates something primitive in her. Her mind starts calculating. Wait a second, this guy has standards. If I mess up, I might lose him. I better act right. Most of the time, she's not even conscious of this. It's an automatic process driven by behavioral signals. Another major mistake guys make here is confusing respect with constant agreement. You can respect her opinion and still disagree. In fact, women respect men more when they say, "I get where you're coming from, but I see it differently," than those who nod like obedient puppies to everything they say. Because if you never have a point of view of your own, you're signaling that you lack a spine. And no woman gets wet for a man without a spine. That's the raw truth. So what does it look like in practice to respect her without worshipping her? First, compliment her decisions and actions, not just her appearance. Instead of saying, "You look beautiful every time," say, "I admire how you stay calm under pressure," or "I respect the way you make decisions." That tells her you value her character, not just her face. And character is something she has to earn and maintain. Beauty is genetic. Character is effort. Second, never ignore red flags hoping they'll magically disappear. If she does something that makes you uncomfortable, say something. Not in a harsh way. Just be direct. "Hey, I don't like that. I'd rather we handle it like this." And if she doesn't adjust after clear communication, change your investment. Reduce the time and energy you give. Let your actions speak louder than words, because women respond to consequences, not lectures. Third, learn to say no without long explanations. If she asks you to do something you don't want to do, a simple "I can't this time" is enough. You don't have to justify every choice like you're on trial. Men who over-explain signal fear of rejection. Men who calmly say no show that their time has value, and not everyone gets access to it. The third technique takes us into darker territory, and this is where most men get lost. You have to treat her in a way that is unpredictable, but not chaotic. That may sound contradictory, but only until you understand the difference. Being unpredictable means she never knows exactly which version of you she's going to get. Sometimes you're warm, affectionate. Other times you're focused, distant, immersed in your mission. Not out of manipulation, but because that's how a real man lives when he has a full life. Chaos, on the other hand, means mood swings without cause, emotional explosions, true instability. That doesn't build attraction. It builds fear and confusion. But strategic unpredictability, brother, That is pure gasoline for female desire, because her mind can't put you in a neat little box. It can't say, "I've figured this man out." And as long as she can't fully categorize you, her mind will keep obsessing over you. Let me explain the neuroscience behind this. The human brain releases dopamine, the pleasure and motivation chemical, when it encounters something new or unexpected. That's why the early stages of a relationship feel so intense. Everything is new, but after a while, when everything becomes predictable, dopamine drops, and so does desire. The men who understand this keep that dopamine flowing by being consistent in their values, but variable in their expression. So how does that look in practice? Sometimes you plan a super romantic, thoughtful date. Other times you say, "Hey, I'm doing this. Join if you want." Not always the same level of effort. Not always the same energy. Sometimes you're the sweet guy who hugs her and listens. Other times you're so locked into your project that you barely have time to text. That contrast, that variation, keeps her nervous system activated. But here's the nuance you can't afford to miss. Unpredictability has to come from authenticity, not from a calculated tactic. If you pretend to be busy when you're not, she'll feel it. If you're acting cold just to stir tension, she'll smell the manipulation. But if you genuinely have days where your mission consumes you and other days where there's space to connect, that natural variation is perfect. You're not playing, you're living. The key is to build a life where your available energy truly fluctuates based on what you're pursuing. When you're launching something big, you'll naturally have less time. When you just achieved something major, you'll naturally have more room to celebrate and connect. That's real unpredictability. And that's what creates long-term attraction, because it's rooted in purpose, not games. Now let's bring it together with a nuclear-level combo. You have to treat her like you already have something more important in your life than her. Because here's the uncomfortable truth no one wants to tell you. A woman wants to be the center of your universe. That's what all the sappy songs and love movies say. But in real life, that's suffocating. What she actually wants is to be part of a universe that already spins, that already has gravity, that's already fascinating without her. Think about it. If all your joy, your direction, your purpose depends on her, you've just turned her into your emotional mom. And no one wants to sleep with their psychological mother. That's basic biology. The maternal role activates completely different circuits in a woman's brain than the lover role. Once she sees you as someone she has to emotionally take care of, her sexual desire shuts off like a light switch. Machiavelli saw this at court. The men who had massive missions, who were building empires, who had ambitions beyond any one woman, those were the men the queens and noblewomen chased. Not because they were cruel, but because they had a purpose that existed independent of any relationship, and that purpose was magnetic. So how do you apply this practically? First, identify your real mission. What's the one thing you'd still do even if there were no women on the planet? Could be building a business, mastering an art, creating music, whatever. But it has to be something that truly lights you up, not something you made up to look impressive. And once you have it, invest real time into it. Not leftover time, your best time. Second, when she asks about your day or plans, mention your mission first. I made major progress on my project, got in a workout. Then tonight, I've got something else lined up. She has to feel that your life was already full before she entered it, that she's stepping into a structure, not filling a void. Because voids are black holes, brother. They absorb all light and give nothing back. But a full life radiates, and that radiation attracts. Third, never restructure your entire life around her in the early stages. If you go to the gym every morning at 6 a.m., keep going. If you have a weekly night with your closest friends, don't cancel it. These habits communicate that you have structure, discipline, and your own identity. And those are markers of a high-value man. signals her brain is constantly scanning for without her even realizing it. Now we speed things up, because the next techniques are more compact, but just as lethal. You must treat her like you could walk away at any moment and still be completely fine. And listen carefully, because I'm not saying you should threaten to leave every time there's a disagreement. That's cheap manipulation. What I am saying is that your emotional state can't depend on whether she stays or goes, because the moment a man desperately needs a woman to stay, he begins to act in ways that guarantee she will leave. Fear of loss makes you cautious. It makes you tiptoe around her emotions instead of owning your own. It makes you sacrifice your truth in exchange for short-term safety. But safety without strength becomes a prison. And women can smell fear, brother. Fear in a man is repulsive at an instinctive level because it signals that he won't be able to protect her when things get rough. The sixth technique: treat her with warmth, but do it selectively. Don't give every woman the same level of warmth and emotional availability. Adjust your emotional investment based on her behavior. If she's respectful, loyal, and adds to your life, give her more warmth. If she's disrespectful, creates unnecessary drama, pull it back. Not out of spite, out of self-respect. A man who treats everyone the same sends the message that his energy holds no differentiated value. The seventh one is the one that really hits hard. Treat her like your standards are so high, she has to work to keep your interest. And I don't mean shallow physical standards, I mean standards of character. How she treats you, how she handles conflict, whether she adds to your life or just distracts from it. When she feels that you have real standards and that she might not meet them, something clicks in her. Her brain says, "This man doesn't just accept anything. If I want to keep him, I need to rise to my best self." The eighth technique: stop chasing instant emotional resolution after every little conflict. Sometimes, tension needs to breathe. Weak men rush to fix every disagreement right away because they can't tolerate the discomfort. Strong men let the space do the work. They allow her to process, to think, to feel the absence. And more often than not, after that silence, she comes back with more clarity, more respect, and more desire than if you had begged her for resolution. And now we arrive at the ninth and most powerful technique of all. This is the one that can change your romantic life forever, if you truly understand it. You must treat her exactly the way you treat yourself. If you respect yourself, respect her. If you have standards for yourself, hold her to those same standards. If there are things you'd never tolerate from your own behavior, do not tolerate them from her either. Because here's the final truth, brother. Women don't fall in love with how you treat them. They fall in love with how you treat yourself while you treat them well. When you have self-respect so deep, it radiates through every action. When your dignity is never up for negotiation, no matter how beautiful she is. When your life holds so much inner value that your energy becomes rare, not out of strategy but by nature. That's when you become irresistible. You are then sending a subconscious signal that her primal brain is desperately scanning the world for. This is a man who governs himself. A man who does not chase external validation. A man who is already complete and is choosing her from abundance, not from need. Now let me ask you something. I want to know your experience. What works better in your life? A. Standing firm on your boundaries, even if it makes her angry. Or B. Being flexible to avoid conflict. Type A or B, and tell me why you chose that. Let's see which answer dominates the conversation below. So let's wrap this up and recap the essence quickly, not as a checklist, but as principles to internalize. First, treat her like you already have options, even if you don't yet. Second, respect her, but never worship her. Third, be unpredictable, but never chaotic. Fourth, make sure there's something in your life more important than her. Fifth, walk like you can leave at any time without falling apart. Sixth, give warmth selectively, based on how she behaves. Seventh, hold standards so high she has to rise to meet them. Eighth, give space instead of chasing emotional resolution every time. Ninth, treat her exactly how you treat yourself. Now here's the moral disclaimer I have to give you. With great power comes great responsibility, brother. These techniques work because they're rooted in real psychology, evolutionary biology, and the way our species operates. But you can use this knowledge in two very different ways. You can use it to manipulate, to use women without any regard for their well-being. Or you can use it to become such a grounded, powerful, high-integrity man that you naturally attract high-quality women and build something real with them. My recommendation? Use this to elevate yourself first. Build your life. Define your mission. Become someone you would respect if you were another man looking at you. And when you do that, these techniques won't be tricks you have to apply. They'll simply be natural expressions of who you've become. And the women you attract, they'll be the kind that a man of that level actually deserves. If this video helped you, share it with someone who needs to hear this. Hit like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and pay close attention, because the next video will cover the micro-signals a woman sends when she's already lost respect for you, and how to reverse that before it's too late. That's the kind of content you won't find anywhere else. I'll see you in the next one, brother. And remember, he who controls his own mind controls his destiny. Everything else is just consequence.